Okay, you've got to memorize your unit circle. So these are the angles that I'm going to want you to know. So let me just kind of give a little hint of how to find them or memorize them. So this is 1 pi over 4. So this is 1/4 up the way, right? This would be 2 pi over 4, but that's the same as pi over 2. There's 3 pi over 4, and this is 4 pi over 4, or pi. Add another pi over 4, that gives you 5 pi over 4. Add another, you get 6 pi over 4, or 3 pi over 2, then 7 pi over 4, and then 8 pi over 4, which is 2 pi. Okay, so now let's look at the pi over 3s. So the pi over 3 breaks it up into thirds, so it's not, doesn't look like it, but this would be 1 pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, and this is 3 pi over 3. So it breaks up this whole top half into thirds. Then there's 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3, and 6 pi over 3, which gets us back to 2 pi. The pi over 6 terms stay really close to the x-axis. So here's 1 pi over 6, and then a pi over 6 less than 2 pi would be 11 pi over 6. And then here I moved 1 pi over 6, so pi over 6 less than pi would be 5 pi over 6, and a pi over 6 greater than pi would be 7 pi over 6. Okay, so what's going to be important for you to know are the x, y terms, because that's how you get the sine and the cosine. So let's just start off with the pi over 4 guys. So they have exact same coordinates. So I'm just going to put the coordinates here. So root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. So they're both positive because you move in the positive x direction and in the positive y direction, right? This one here is going to have a negative root 2 over 2 for the x's and a positive root 2 over 2 for the y's. This one down here is going to have a negative root 2 over 2 for the x's and a negative root 2 over 2 for the y's because you're moving down here. This here, you're going to have a positive root 2 over 2 for the x and a negative root 2 over 2 for the y's because you move down here to get to that point. All right. So now let's look at the others. So we've got the numbers root 3 over 2 and 1/2. So if I'm just looking at the number root 3 and 1, you know root 3 is larger. So if I divide both by 2, this is the larger number, right? So let's look at this. So here I have this xy point. It looks like I moved large in the x direction and small in the y direction. So that means my root 3 over 2 is the x and the positive 1/2 is the y. So looking at this number right here, it looks like I'm moving small in the x direction and large in the y direction. So that gives us this point as being a positive 1/2 and a positive root 3 over 2 for the y. So this one here, I move small in the negative x direction and large in the positive y direction. So that's a negative 1/2, comma, root 3 over 2. And this point here, I'm moving large in the negative x direction and small positive in the y direction. So this one here, large negative in the x direction and a small negative in the y direction. And then this one here, I'm going to have small negative, negative 1/2, and a large negative y value. And then here, to get to this, I'm going to have a small positive y value, positive x value, and a large negative y value. And you know that this point here is 0, negative 1. And you know that this point up here at pi over 2 is 0, 1. And you know here at pi, it's negative 1, 0. And at 2 pi, it's 1, 0. Whoops, 1, 0. Okay, so what will you be asked to know? So if I said find cosine of 4 pi over 3, you would think angle, go all the way over to here, 4 pi over 3, and cosine, you know, is the x-coordinate. So the x-coordinate would be negative 1/2. So if I asked you to find sine of 7 pi over 4, you would go to the angle of 7 pi over 4 and take the y coordinate, because that's what the sine does, and you'd get negative root 2 over 2. So these you will be asked on your unit circle memory quizzes, just sines and cosines and just these angles.